Alrighty, welcome to the counter offer, where we take the title of two news stories that Eric doesn't know and two news stories that I don't know, and we talk about it. This is Eric, by the way. Let's say number 28. Are we up to number 28?
Yes, season 2, episode 28.
First one, season 2, episode 28. I'm going to start.
Go for it.
More Americans are moving to Spain and paying high prices for rentals. Listen to what Spain's doing. It's very, very smart. Actually, America was doing it for a little bit. The number of expats living in Spain grew 13% in the last 2 years.
Why?
I will tell you in a second. They launched a digital nomad visa. So all the people that are working at Meta, Amazon, who are wherever,
Remote.
they're making it easier to move in and work there. It's known as the Golden Visa. All you have to do is purchase a property for $500,000, 500,000 euros, and you have a visa. That's it. So I think that's the easiest way to bring people into your country and buy property. And this is the most interesting part. I think this is what London does, which is they only have a tax when you buy, and it's not a monthly tax. So they have something called a stamp duty tax that is 1 to 2.5%. So you pay it up front, but the problem is nobody moves then because you already paid your tax on the apartment. In other words, say 1% of $500,000. So it's a very interesting
How long does the visa last?
thing
Till you
that
sell?
they're doing. I don't know. But if you own property, I assume they can't do anything, right? I don't know. Let's see the...
You do get property rights if you own something in New York. But
Well,
it's
they-
not a visa.
Weren't they doing that $250,000? You invested $250,000 into a business and they would do something? That was years back. But that's a really smart idea for Spain. And to be
Especially
honest,
for working remote.
yeah, you know, everyone's talking about going remote, and why not go remote in Spain?
Sounds nice to me. The luxury tower built for New York City's elite still sits half empty.
Woo!
Long article here in the Wall Street Journal over the weekend. While related companies set out to build Hudson Yards, a roughly 28-acre, just think about that, 28-acre mega project
I was
on
just there.
Manhattan's far west side, its goal was lofty. The developer wanted to turn a wind-swept rail yard into the next hot destination for the global elite. It was a very long article, so there's a lot in here. And basically, the long story of it is that the Schedule A prices are substantially higher than what they're selling for now.
Yeah.
So you can get a great discount at Hudson Yards. And it's good because they actually related a lot of questions about it. They talked to brokers about it as well. Buyers included, people who had purchased at Hudson Yards and now are selling at a discount from where they purchased it at. And yeah, I mean, it was
Schedule A is,
when you release the properties onto the market, what they are
and what you tell the bank you're going to sell it at.
exactly.
So that's actually really important, that they're selling below what they told the bank they were going to sell it at, which the banks never are happy on that. And they actually control it sometimes. They
Well-
say no.
The article is definitely worth a read. It almost seemed a bit like a hit piece. I wouldn't say it was that, it's that negative.
Sponsored by
Yeah, sponsored by
another developer.
But that's, there's a lot of things that kind of derailed it, and they, no pun intended, since it was built on the rail yard or the rally yard.
Yeah, what's going through your...
So basically, it's a great read. Take it with a grain of salt. You
Well,
can get a discount at Hudson
To
Yards.
interrupt, I was there on Sunday and I was shocked. It was the first time that I've ever been there. It was the first time that I was impressed with a development that size. It is new, it's beautiful, it's high end, it's very clean, and it was packed with tourists. And all I thought was, how are people not buying this? Because if you think about it, you have everything in that area. You don't have to go to another location. So I would have thought that a lot of foreigners would have came in, or a lot of second homes would have came in, because it is luxury.
It is nice. You can walk right up the High Line and you end up in Hudson Yards. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of good restaurants at Hudson Yards and shopping, etc. But it's been open since 2018.
It's crazy.
So that was your first time being there? Maybe
Yeah.
that's why it's not selling.
They need more of my presence. Moving on to the market update. What does everyone always talk about? So this is the June real estate market update. Citywide, the median asking price broke records for the third consecutive month, reaching just under $1.1 million. Steady demand for buyers and a sharp decline in sales inventory is making it seller friendly. And buyers with large budgets are still actively shopping, particularly in brownstones in Brooklyn and the Manhattan condo market. I was actually sent a brownstone that went on the market for $6.1 million where my sister's living in Brooklyn, and I am shocked. But there are no brownstones really in Brooklyn that people are selling. So anything that comes on the market, it's going to go. And this is an area you wouldn't think that I think 6.1 is a little steep, but I also think that there's no competition. So I think that's
right.
That's the biggest thing, is for the pricing to continuously go up, there's just nothing on the market. You know, in New York City, you still have a lot of off-market deals, but outside of the city, it's probably just non-existent because of the interest rates they don't want to sell. So that's the June market update.
Yeah, a lot of inventory that's not available.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a brownstone in Brooklyn, you have to pay up.
Yep.
Especially if it's in a good neighborhood. This should come to nobody's surprise, but it's a Yahoo Finance article.
Okay.
Rent-mania. Want to live in Manhattan? You better think twice. I would say the article is more like you better check your pocketbook and your income, because rents, again, going up. This is the funny one. It starts off, the median rents in New York City are reaching record highs, according to the latest data, some cases triggering bidding wars for, well, some mediocre properties. So yeah, that's exactly
Wheelhouse.
right. In fact, that is where to rent in New York City, to have that flexibility, you got to pay to play.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how that has turned around. You know, in the middle of COVID and the pandemic, you couldn't give these apartments away, these mediocre apartments. You couldn't even give the good apartments away.
Yeah.
Now, you know, you
Bidding
have
wars.
to bid up on a mediocre place.
Yeah.
So
especially in the right location. In the right location, it's renting quick and at a high price.
Yeah.
And people, you know, you hear stories of people looking for months for rentals. It's crazy. Like, I wouldn't have the patience for that.
Well, that's also because they'll re-sign on a month-to-month, but start paying that high rent.
Yep.
So they're like, oh, don't worry, I'll figure something out. And another thing that's pretty interesting is the seasonality. Everybody used to say the savvy New Yorkers would like wait for the winter or you know, look for some sort of opportunity. It doesn't matter nowadays. You list it and it goes.
That's June. If June went up, that's usually historically a slower time. But
you know when you have to look
when
there are holidays that nobody's in the city.
Yeah.
July 4th, Labor Day, Memorial Day. When everybody leaves, it's not that you're going to get a better deal. It's going to be that there's less competition.
Yeah.
So I always say the people who have been looking on those like hot days on July 4th, that weekend, they earned it.
Yeah.
And they do earn it. So, yeah.
So that's the counter offer for this week. We'll be live next week with new news. And if you guys have any questions, leave in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.